More bad Funko news. Let's talk about it.
Are you surprised? We're the Gastlecast, and here at the Gastlecast, we are doom and gloom. And also cringe.
Things never seem to go right for Funko. It's like every month something bad comes out, like something new and bad.
Okay, but you say things aren't going right for Funko as if it's not Funko's fault.
No,
but
no,
this
I'm not
is
saying
totally,
that. Yeah, right,
this is
yeah.
totally their fault.
Yeah, it is.
And it keeps happening, and I don't understand when they're gonna learn. Like, a $7 million lawsuit didn't make you aware that you shouldn't be hiding from your investors?
Allegedly, we're gonna have to put the A out there a lot.
Okay, but Funko lost.
I understand.
So it's not really allegedly.
What we're talking about in this video, we're just gonna say allegedly a lot.
Okay, I guess it's alleged. If they did it once, they're probably doing it again. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Does it fit there?
Okay, let's talk about Benzinga put out a new article that talks about a class action lawsuit against Funko. So I'm going to read this first part, which is very important. We have discussed this a lot in the past, and a lot of people will watch our video and say, oh my God, you guys are so negative. Funko isn't dying. We're not saying Funko is dying here. We're just saying this isn't good.
Yeah, this isn't about Funko dying. It's about Funko.
Well, it could be. This could lead to Funko dying. Like
it's not going to.
Well, too many bad things like this adding up. It's not good.
Well, yeah, it's not good, but it doesn't mean that people aren't still going to buy their products.
Okay, let's read this little article, this little snippet. Okay, first. The Funko class action lawsuit alleges that defendants throughout the class period made false and or misleading statements and or failed to disclose that Funko was experiencing significantly large delays in implementing its ERP software than it was disclosing to investors. So the ERP software has to do with how the warehouses are managed and how they function.
Now, wasn't this something that was supposed to be implemented last, like, Q2, Q3?
Something like that.
Of 2022?
Yeah. It was supposed to take place a long time ago, and they were basically telling investors that everything's going to be okay, not really telling, I guess, how bad the delays were going to be.
Hold on, are they talking about delays having to do with the software or delays in their product?
Delays in implementing its ERP software.
That's it? That's all they're alleging?
Well, now hold on. I gotta get
Okay.
some more. Having moved into a new warehouse without functioning ERP software in place would lead to dramatically higher costs and poorer inventory management practices. Funko's inability to efficiently operate the new distribution center would have a substantial undisclosed impact on Funko's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization margin.
Can you explain that to me like I'm 5?
So Funko was telling the investors that this ERP software would roll out a lot faster, not mentioning that they were behind with getting this software implemented, which would run their Buckeye, Arizona warehouse. And because this ERP software wasn't in place and it wasn't being run properly as the investors thought, everything got f***ed up at the Buckeye warehouse. So it led to dramatically higher costs and poor inventory management practices, which is why they destroyed a bunch of Funko product. They destroyed all that stuff because they couldn't properly maintain it in the warehouse. They were putting them in big storage containers, which cost a lot of money, which I don't know if the investors knew that. So there was a lot going on here with the investors under the guise that everything's going to be okay. We're going to get the software up and running. The warehouse is going to be great. Only to find out that the software wasn't right. The warehouse wasn't running properly and they were burning all their Basically, this whole warehouse scenario was for them to move from Seattle to Arizona and to basically do all their distribution there. And I think that them setting up this warehouse was going to be cheaper in Arizona. And I think the warehouse might have even been larger.
I remember reading about how big it was going to be.
Yeah. It was apparently supposed to be a humongous step up for Funko. And it fell flat on its face.
But I heard that they're trying to get it up and running.
This article is referencing what happened in 2022. That's when things imploded. Funko announced to the investors that the warehouse situation was really up. The investors were not happy. We listened to that call, if you remember. And then this year, they had an investors call, the first quarter. Their stock has gone up. It appears that things are actually running well. Even though they really don't have their warehouse set up the way they want it, apparently they still do not have this ERP software set up yet. They're apparently running on software right now that's only going to be around until the ERP software, the final one, is ready to go.
Basically, this whole thing is due to Funko knowing, allegedly, that things weren't going well.
Correct.
And not letting their investors know soon enough.
They weren't telling them the exact truth of what was going on. They were painting a turd gold.
This sounds a bit familiar, does it to you?
You're talking about the Big B?
So in case you missed it, last October, they settled a lawsuit having to do specifically with Brian Mariotti and insider trading.
We call him Big B here.
Well, I'm just letting them know who it's about.
Big B.
This is on the internet. You can read about it. This isn't me alleging
But I like calling him
anything.
Big B. Can we just stick with Big B?
I like to think he's small b. The class action lawsuit that happened last year alleged that Funko withheld the inventory right down from its shareholders when it made a statement to them in October of 2019. Additionally, it claims that Funko's then CEO, because he was the CEO at the time, Big B, sold off 400,000 company shares during its secondary public offering. The shareholders argue that Mariotti's move to sell shares was akin to illegal insider trading since it was done with information that was not yet available to the public. Meaning, Big B knew something that was going to affect the price of Funko stocks. And before they had to make that information public, he sold off a very large chunk, almost 500,000 shares, to make money before it tanked. They made a mistake before. They literally just settled this in October, and it's happening again. Are you stupid? Like, why are you doing this again?
I know, it is dumb.
It's ridiculous. Just let your shareholders know what's up. And if they don't want to support you, then they don't, and find some more people to support you. I don't know, but don't fucking lie. It got them into so much legal before. Why are they doing it again?
Well, here's the bad news for Funko. Robbins Geller is one of the world's leading complex class action firms representing plaintiffs in securities frauds cases. The firm is ranked number 1 on the most recent ISS Securities Class Action Services Top 50 report for recovering more than $1.75 billion for investors in 2022. The third year in a row, Robbins Geller tops the list.
Well, good luck, Funko.
Oh my God, this is going to be a show. Now, this isn't something that's going to shut the company down,
No.
although there is a huge issue here, and that is investors trusting in Funko. Because if Funko is willing to lie to their investors or hide stuff from their investors, allegedly, that's not good. And investors, they expect to put in money into something and get a ton of money back. And when they see this warehouse tanking and Funko losing money, and then come to find out Funko lied to them about how things really went,
or hid things,
allegedly, that is no good at all.
I just want to be clear, hiding something intentionally is the same as lying, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure, yeah. It's like talking to a child, isn't it? I feel like Funko, we're talking to you like you're a kid.
Yeah, like I learned that you shouldn't lie when I was in kindergarten.
Funko is the large company equivalent of Dennis the Menace.
And you know, I bet if you stayed over their house, you would go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and there would be saran wrap over the toilet so it would just bounce back off of you when you tried to pee.
Yeah, I wonder why Funko just can't get their act together. There's obviously some going on here.
They entered into the stock game. Why don't they know what they're supposed to do? I don't get it. Like, you can tell when listening to the earnings calls where they literally speak to the investors that they're reading from a sheet of paper. They are told what to say, they know what to say, and they're intentionally, allegedly, not saying these things. I mean, they know what's going on within their company.
Right.
So, moving forward, what can they do?
Tell the truth and operate like they're supposed to. And if you're going to move your warehouse, make sure you're set up to move your warehouse. They just moved too quickly in this whole situation, and it just blew up in their face.
It seems like they move very quickly in a lot of things that they do. And it seems to me like they continuously make poor decisions. And I feel like with a company that brings in this much money, they should have people to consult with that tell them like, hey, you should be doing this, or hey, you probably shouldn't do that. But it seems like sometimes they're like asking toddlers, hey, what should we do?
Well, we like to blame the pandemic for a lot of their problems.
This isn't pandemic.
They seem to be the source of their own problems. They're causing their own financial woes. And I know things are doing better now. And a lot of people out there who are huge Funko lovers and they don't want to hear anything bad about Funko, they're saying, oh, look at their stock and look how great they're doing. And everything's so much better right now. But it makes you wonder how much of all of that is not real. Allegedly, is it possible that what they have told investors in this past call in 2023 is not entirely true? Allegedly, this is very concerning.
Well, if it's happened twice where people have noticed, lots of people have noticed, enough for them to lose a lawsuit back in October, it's happening again. Even if the allegations aren't 100% correct, because again, these are just allegations. As an investor, it would make me lose faith and make me question, is what they are telling me true?
So when you listen to these investor calls, is it all smoke and mirrors? And I don't keep up with a lot of other large companies like we do with Funko. So I don't know how these other investor calls go, if there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to that as well.
Probably.
But I mean, you always want to tell your investors that things are going well. But you can't like completely disregard bad news altogether. It just does not work.
They need to know how things are doing as someone putting money into your company.
And last year, when that call happened where they discussed the warehouse stuff, that was hard to listen to. You could tell that they did not want that phone call. They didn't want to have to give that news to anybody. Our warehouse is in bad shape. Things aren't going properly. We have fires out back of our warehouse because we're burning all of our shit. Like nothing looked good. And today it still looks like
Yes, we might be a more negative Funko channel, but I don't like to think about us as negative. I like to think about us as realistic. We talk about the topics that other people don't necessarily want to talk about because they want to love all of these fun little figures that you get and everything's great and everything's fine. But in reality, I mean, I think it's important to know about what you're buying and all the things that are being done sort of behind the scenes. Because realistically, if you're a collector, you see these boxes on the shelves, you buy them, they make you happy, and that's that. In my opinion, it's very interesting to learn how businesses work and how things are going to see if I really want to support these businesses.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Do you want to support a business that operates in the way that they're operating, allegedly? It's too much bad news. The bad news just keeps stacking on top of each other. I don't know what's going to happen with Funko. Again, I don't believe this is crushing Funko or Funko is going away. But in reality, this just does not help.
And I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression and say that I said, oh, don't trust Funko, don't buy from them. I'm just saying, ethically, like, is that who I want to support?
Well, we got to let this case end so we can find out what the truth is, because you don't know what's going to come out. Because right now, Funko's looking like a bad guy. But that might not be entirely true.
Yeah, I mean,
allegedly.
It could be, for the sake of being a collector, for the sake of loving these products, I hope that it's not true.
Okay, so a quick recap.
There is a lawsuit alleging that Funko misled its investors into thinking that things were much better at Funko than they were.
Not fully explaining how horrible the warehouse move was going, and the fact that the warehouse wasn't even set up and ready to go for that move.
All of this coming just months after another lawsuit against Funko was settled, alleging that Funko's former CEO was accused of insider trading.
So if you need bad news about Funko, come and watch the Gastlecast. We have all the bad news you could desire.
Doom and gloom.
So we want to know what you think about this entire situation involving this lawsuit. Do you think that Funko can find their way out of this really dark hole once again?
And do you think that these allegations are true, or do you think that these people on the other side are reaching? Let us know all of that and more in the comment section down below.
In every video, we like to shout out to some of our patrons from Patreon. In this video, we'd like to shout out to Tony Madrid, John Akuda, Dave Adler, Fried Peanut Butter and Jelly, Desert Dog, Shadow Force, Luton Aboot, Mason Bradshaw, James Thomas, and Nick Mastramico. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. We appreciate all of our patrons. You guys rock. Before we go, we just wanted to mention, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and also check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Gastlecast, and an upcoming prize during our Patreon live Zoom meet. We will be giving away this Optimus Prime signed by the man himself, Peter Cullen. So if you're a patron at either level 3 or 4, you'll have your shot at winning this guy. The details of our Patreon Zoom meet will be dropped very soon on Patreon. So if you're a patron, keep your eyes peeled. Also, make sure you check out 7bucksapop.com and buy yourself some Pop Shield armors. They are the best pop protection on the planet. You want to go and check them out. Also, they do Funko Pop drops on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and you never know what you're going to find on there. Typically, you can find yourself a really awesome grail. So check it out at 7bucksapop.com. Thank you for staying until the very end of the video. We really appreciate all of your support. Remember, as always, we are together, yes. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.